Episode 117, marketing strategies that actually work on Gen Z. In this episode, you'll discover the marketing tactics that truly resonate with Generation Z. We share firsthand insights gained from conversations with 18 to 25-year-olds, revealing how this demographic discovers brands, what content captures their attention, and why many common marketing strategies miss the mark. Learn about the digital marketing platforms that matter most, the type of content that matters most to them, and why authenticity is key. The discussion also covers the response of Generation Z to local advertising strategies versus national branding, highlighting what motivates them to engage with local businesses. For small business owners looking to refine their marketing strategies, this episode challenges common assumptions and offers practical advice on shaping campaigns that connect authentically with young adults. Rethink your approach to marketing and unlock fresh ideas that affect digital marketing and customer acquisitions. All right. So
ask me how we got here, right?
I was going to say, first of all, Adriana should probably be hosting this one in that she is Gen Z.
That's why she's got
in the middle.
That's
of
why
it.
my mic's on.
That's why your mic's on. So,
all right, but you've had some conversation recently?
So I've had conversations with companies, but I walked into class yesterday, and again, we've talked about how we've got our podcast class, and I walked in with this topic, and I said, let's sit around in a circle. And they looked at me like I'm crazy. And I said, all right, we're going to do a podcast without recording, without anything. We're just going to get you comfortable talking about different topics. So we literally just threw this out there, and I started asking a variety of questions. And our lovely producer was sitting there and waiting for me to, she's like, I've heard this before. But, we just walked into it and started asking, what is it that makes or breaks the marketing that is going out to you? So the first thing that we started talking about, what are the platforms, what is the content that really matters? And, you can jump in at any point here, but it was all about entertainment. It was all about video. It was all about quick bits of content. And we talked a lot about how advertising actually gets in the way. So they were kind of leaning towards the organic content, but then we got into a whole bunch of different conversations. And, we started to almost split the room. Some were in one side and some were in some, can you share some of that?
So when we were, no, I could actually do this. There we go. There we go. So when we were talking about it, and I was listening to the students, they said that the two main platforms that they use are, there's three. It was Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Now, the only thing with YouTube and any other kind of streaming platform, because that's what YouTube has basically become, is this generation's version of Netflix, Hulu, Peacock. Now, of course, they still use all of those. But one of the students said that they pay for premium so they don't have to get those advertisements. And that actually made me think later on in a different class, we were talking about advertising. It's like intro into advertising. And one of the options to spend your hypothetical money in to advertise is through CTV and YouTube. But then that counts as if your audience, one, has those platforms, and two, you're banking on that they have the ad version and not the ad-free version. If you have the ad-free version, your ads are never going to be seen. So you're basically kind of wasting money in that sense. But they were talking about those, and especially with TikTok and Instagram, when they are looking through videos and content that is showing up in there, they swipe past the advertisements. They don't even look at them. And if they do look at them, it's because wherever they clicked on their phone, it took them to the advertisement and they exited straight out of it. And the other thing that the students were talking about was that they spend a lot of time looking through the comments. They spend more time looking.
Really? Yeah. I've seen this.
So if there's a video, and if it is either provoking or funny or just something that's going to really grab our attention and we want to know what other people are saying about it, we will spend like maybe like a few, like 5 to 10 minutes just going through the comments on one video. And that was one thing when you were talking about like the video aspect, that people want to be entertained there, because our attention spans are very, very short. So
I think we mentioned goldfish.
yeah, we have the attention span of goldfish. So when we are looking at content, it doesn't always have to be video, because a lot of content, especially on TikTok, they have the option of video, and then they also have the option of pictures, and the pictures you swipe through and there's like music or something in the background of it. And sometimes, usually what I've seen is either like articles that are posted, that people have posted, or like their text messages, something like that, and that will get people's attention. So it's all in what you can do within the first maybe 2 seconds.
So
You just learned a lot there, didn't you?
yeah, I did learn a lot. But you think about the YouTube one.
Yes.
You know, I watched the show yesterday. I think there's 50 people streaming the video, right? It felt like 150 on the comment line.
Well, you have the
I mean,
same
it was,
5 people.
Yeah, it was comments. I mean, they were continuous comments.
Today you had a lot.
So, I mean, why is that important? I did not want to do us as a radio or podcast on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that. It's just a lot harder technologically.
So I think what, the conversation was yesterday is that we're looking for entertainment, number one. As they're scrolling through, and they're giving a few seconds for each.
Yes.
I think they mentioned up to 15 seconds, but we all know it's probably closer to 2 or 3 at the most, right? But people will go into the comments, and I see my daughter do this, right? She's 18. She will click on something, and then I see her scrolling the comments because there's so many comments, and then she closes it, goes to the next one, hits the comments again. And so what I'm seeing in this is, one, you got to get them to stop, right? So you got to get that hook, that what is it that they're trying to find from this video or this post. And then why are people engaging with it? And you guys know all about this when it comes to radio. You get two sides going at each other. I mean, that's essentially what's happening in the comments. Or, it doesn't have to be on a negative side. It could be on a positive side, right? Where people are saying good things about the post and all that. But I think one of the real lessons yesterday was the fact that you got to get them to stop. So there's got to be a really good hook. And then second, you've got to start a conversation in that post somehow, some way. So a lot of people are talking about now, oh, well, comment below and we'll send you this and all this, right? There's those strategies. But, and we've talked about this in the past, a post, take a side, who's going to win the Super Bowl, those types of things. But, you've got to get people commenting on it, because the younger generation wants to continue the dialogue in the comments of a post. So if you're not getting that engagement, you're not connecting with this generation. And this generation is the new, right, it is the new people that you've got to relate to. I mean, the boomers are aging out. I mean, Gen Z or Gen X, like me, I mean, there's just not a lot of us. And we're all cantankerous anyway. So, you probably don't want us commenting on things, but that's what I mean. Like, you've got to see how the different generations respond to different things. So if you're trying for a younger audience, it's all about the engagement and getting that conversation flowing in those comments.
So you mentioned authenticity a couple times. I mean, is that more important than like some shocking first 2 seconds?
That conversation went a different way than I thought it was going to go. But we were asking about, if you see an ad and you don't know who they are you clicking on it? And I'm like, no, I'm not clicking on that. But if I see somebody that I know, that I've seen ads before, I've bought from in the past or whatever, I'll click on that. So then we went down this whole rabbit hole of, well, what is trust and what is authenticity and what are the types of brands that you would actually click on?
One person had a very interesting way that they go about finding trust within brands to make sure they're legit. And I was like, I've never heard anything like that. That's really cool.
So go ahead and share it.
I think, if I'm remembering correctly, that there is some form of either website or platform that they are able to plug in whoever is selling this product, and it tells them how long they've been selling this product, what are their reviews, do they have like a good, I don't know if it was SEO or it was something along those lines where it tells you if this person is legit or not. And then they'll look at the reviews of everybody, they'll look at the reviews of the products and the quality of product, and they have basically all this information available to make sure that this product is trustworthy enough. Because there are, and especially TikTok and Instagram are very good at this, and scammers have found new ways, of course, that they will sell products and they're complete and total scams. They look legit, everything is authentic from just the blind eye, and that's how they get you, and you never get your product ever. They just take your money.
Yeah, or you had the Shopify drop shippers that happened years ago. I mean, there's probably still some out there that are doing it, but you'd order a product from a website that looked legit. They had trust badges and everything else that they would throw on there, and you wouldn't get your product until like 28 to 45 days later, and people were calling to cancel the orders, and it was building this huge...
It was a whole thing.
Yeah, so we've reshaped an entire generation based on some of the things that we've been doing through social media and through e-commerce with drop shipping and all of that. So they don't trust anything anymore when they see it unless they have some kind of experience. And that was the conversation. We had a hockey player that was talking about how there's this website that he heard about, but he didn't know anything about it. But some of his other teammates had purchased hockey sticks from it. So he waited to see how their experiences were, and that slowly built the trust. So I think the lesson from that is you can't just form some no-name brand and start to try and sell people, because especially in this generation, they're very distrustful. If they can't look you up, there's no information on you, there's no history.
Yeah, if we don't do our proper background checks, we're not really trusting you.
Right. Which is funny in today's society because so many people believe what they hear, read, and see.
So you're talking about just like fraud.
Yes. Essentially. Well, I wouldn't say it's fraud, but it's people that, and I'm going to go back to the drop shipping, which was a huge thing a while back.
What is drop
Drop shipping is basically you create an e-commerce website on Shopify, and then you would tie it back to one of the Chinese websites that would ship product, right? So you'd buy let's call it a T-shirt for $1, and you'd sell it for $15, and then you'd take the $15 and it would automatically pay $1 for the drop shipper, but it would take 28 to 45 days to come from China, and people were getting upset because they were ordering something for Christmas or an event that was coming up, and they weren't getting this stuff, and they're thinking all of their money has been scammed and taken, right? So it's a legit business, but they weren't being transparent about it. They weren't saying, well, it's going to take up to 45 days for your shipment to get there, and most people wouldn't order at that point, right? So there's all of these things that have happened in the last 10 years that have helped shape this generation, because now they're, anywhere from 14 to 29 years old, and they've grown up with this. So now they're distrusting. They want brands that they're familiar with, but you have to build that trust before they're willing to literally buy something from you online.
All right, so we are talking about the small and medium-sized businesses here, mostly in Indiana, but people listen elsewhere. It almost, if I'm, what kind of business could even attract her?
Mm-hmm. Well, what are some of the products that you buy?
Anything local?
It depends. So if we're talking like local products, probably like clothing from different shops, and especially within kind of more like Whiting, Munster area, they have like small mom and pop shops. Food is definitely one of the big ones that you're going to see more of our generation buying, opposed to just bigger companies. But I think when it comes into local, not so much around here, but like through websites where it's like people's personal businesses. Etsy's like one of a real big one for that, even though Etsy has marketed itself as a national thing. But people can go and they sell their products, and it, as you said, it's like one of those things. It's the trust thing. So recently, I did actually buy something from Etsy that is from somebody's like local business, and it was stuff for graduation, and a lot of things too. And if you go to like in Chicago, and depending on where you're at, what neighborhood you're in Chicago, they have people that are there like selling their products on the street, and they'll sell their products first there before they can get enough money to have it to where they have their own little business, and like they start climbing that little ladder in a sense.
So we just had sitting in this chair Brent Brazier from
Yes.
Doc's Barbecue. And he has a Super Bowl coming up, and they do a ton of carry out before the Super Bowl. I mean, like massive amounts. They actually close when the Super Bowl starts.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, wasn't that weird?
Yeah.
So how could he get Gen Z to be interested in his product versus Gen Z will go on there and just buy from Wingstop and get it Ubered over, or they'll go pick it up. But either way, they'll just do that. How is he going to be able to get into Gen Z?
Yeah, he just needs to put himself in the same circles, right? The same conversations. He sells barbecue, but you're talking about the Super Bowl, and people get really passionate about sports, as you know. And
I'm there for the commercials.
you're there for the commercials. Some people are there for the halftime show. Some people are there for the game. Some people are there because they want
Food.
the food, right? Like there's all these different reasons for it. But if he's focusing around the Super Bowl itself, it comes down to kind of multiple things. So, is he posting things about his food? Of course. Is he posting things about the game? I don't know. Is he posting things about the halftime show? Is he posting things about the who's going to be the MVP, right? Like, could you relate any of this stuff? But when it comes to the younger generation, I don't think they're focused as much on the business side of the Super Bowl as much as the entertainment side of it, right? So something as simple as the halftime show gets people riled up, right? Something as simple as the Patriots back in the Super Bowl,
That it's not
either
two
people love it
teams.
or they hate it, right? The fact that they're back again, it's just not fair. Bears fans, it's just not fair. Why do we have to do this again? But what I'm saying is, too many people will focus strictly on their product, right? Let me put another picture of a barbecue sandwich. Let me put another picture of nachos with barbecue meat on it. Let me put another picture. You don't care about that, right? Like you could care less about to see. Yeah, it looks good. I'm scrolling. I'm not commenting on it.
Yeah.
But if it's this is my favorite food, what's your favorite food for the Super Bowl, or what's the best thing that you've ever had? It gets people talking.
You get ideas.
Yep. Do you have a
go
recipe
from
that you'd
there.
love to share? Put the link in below so we can get everyone to kind of celebrate food during the Super Bowl. I mean, those are things that get people talking more. So, again, we're talking about one single generation at this point, but I think there are some generalities that we can go out there and push out, such as food or music or whatever, even advertising. I mean, a lot of people watch the Super Bowl for the ads. Me personally, I get bored with the ads anymore. I don't think they're as creative as they used to be.
It's been like the past 2 to 3 years that they haven't been like, whoa, what? Like, this is a great ad. And that's also because these companies are going to release the ads before the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And that takes away a little bit of that aspect that, at least for my generation, if we were so like disinterested in the game whatsoever, the commercials are what we were watching because they were new, they were different, and they weren't as short as we were used to seeing. Because some of these commercials, like, of course, people pay millions and millions upon dollars just to get their advertisements up there. So that's losing its spark a little bit. And of course, everybody's gonna be mad about the halftime performance, but I think without any of like the political aspects of this current performer that's for the Super Bowl, I keep seeing, and it's so funny to me that they're just like nobody even knows who Bad Bunny is. Whereas for Gen Z, everybody knows exactly who this person is. So,
By the way, I was dancing with my granddaughter to Bad Bunny yesterday.
what song?
That was awful.
Can we get that on video?
Actually,
know.
the music. I mean, the music was very, very.
Like catchy.
It was very. It was in Spanish, and it was very deeply cultural. I was surprised that they're. That it was. I thought it was kind of hip hop-ish.
Yeah.
No, man, it's almost like traditional.
Yeah. And that's one aspect that is so appealing to that artist. And I like to think of it that people are like, nobody knows who Bad Bunny is with like this one. But then years ago, I laughed because I know who the person was when Prince was doing the Super Bowl. My generation's like, who is that? I'm like, how do you guys not know who this is?
That was a good one, man.
I loved it. It was
Yeah, it was
amazing.
good.
But I think it's also just because what this generation, what you're going to be exposed to. Because it's not just like, okay, everybody's exposed to the same kind of content at the same time. That's with social media and these advertisements and everything coming up. It is so versatile, and it's the algorithms that you get. My algorithm is not going to be the same as any of your guys. It's not going to be the same as any of the people that are in sports or any of the producers that are here. It's not going to be the same. Like, you are not going to get even close. Maybe you'll get a video or two that everybody's seen out of the 2,000 videos you see every day.
So, sum this up.
Yeah, I think you just got to realize that you have to listen to customers, right? You have to ask many, many questions. You have to just, you've been given 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, right? I think I've said that 3 times in the last 24 hours, but listen, right? You just said it, that your algorithm, that the content that you are constantly watching, that you're listening to is different than what Jim's listening to, I'm looking at, right? Like, it's all different. So you really have to just be quiet and listen every once in a while, and you're going to learn one tip or trick along the way.
Your summary?
My summary of it would just basically be how I said, like, you have to listen to your customer, but you have to get them engaged. If not as much before, you have to do it way more now, and it's a lot more difficult.
So I guess kind of a takeaway for the small and medium-sized business to reach your generation. Certainly, it has to be on one of those 3 platforms mainly: YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And that you need to do something that will get them involved in whatever content you're going to put up there.
Stop the scroll and make them comment.
Let's end it right there. This is episode 117, Marketing Strategies That Actually Work on Gen Z. Until next time, we'll see you later.